Oh, what's up?
Okay, what's up, dude? How's it going?
Good. I just got back from vacation. Finally, a little more relaxed. So it's definitely not gonna be a heated argument. I got a lot of stress off in the last year, so be civil. Be all good.
Yeah, no, I'm here to moderate, by the way.
Yep, no problem, no problem. And
Um,
I've been playing Pokemon for a long time myself. I go out
mhm,
of my way to complete the game, so like that means like completing the whole Pokedex. So that's
mm.
one of the reasons why I'm mad. But
Yeah,
I'll
that and that
actually
and
get
that's the
there.
reason why I wanted. That's the reason why I invited you on. VC did not invite himself on. I invited VC on because he makes some good points. You know what I'm saying? So I see you sometimes I don't know if you think this, but I don't think you do. But if you think that I'm just pressuring you off, I'm not. I see that you have some good points, that you're making on social media and stuff like that. So I decided, hey, I think it'd be kind of cool if to bring you on and to talk about it. Yo, Insane Game Freak,
Hey, what's up?
what's up, man? How's it going? How you doing today? Long time no talk.
Pretty good. You?
Doing good, doing good. Good to have you on. Hey, just to let everybody know, this is the Insane Game Freak. He is a great YouTuber. He does all sorts of cool videos. He's also on the Juices Loose podcast. So I'll have them link their channel. I'll link their channels once we kind of get through this. So kind of to set this up, guys. They're going to be on audio on Discord. The chat said that they want to just have the layout and everything, and you guys can just be audio. VC is going to be talking for the side of like Pokemon, like they're being garbage, like they need to whatever they need to put all these Pokemon in there. There should be no excuses, blah blah blah. So he's on the side of National Dex hashtag and the Insane Game Freak. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I saw your video. I think you uploaded it last night, or was it the day before?
It was the day before, but yeah.
Okay, well I watched it last night. YouTube, right?
Yeah.
I got a notification for it last night, by the way. Okay.
Yeah.
YouTube. This is the reason why I'm on Twitch. Anyway, so I saw your video. I watched all 20 minutes of it. I actually watched it twice. And very good video in my opinion. You kind of addressed a lot of the points. So I was thinking, it'd be good to have you guys come on, talk about it, see kind of what's going on there, and you guys can make one point counterpoint, and we can just kind of discuss it. I thought that'd be kind of cool, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds good to
That's
me.
fine.
All right, cool. All right, so let's go ahead and start off here, guys. Shout outs to everybody here in the chat. Thank you. We got over 100 people watching, so I appreciate all you guys being here. That's pretty much the premise of this whole thing here, guys. So let me just set it up. In the Pokemon games before, there's something called the National Dex, and basically what that allows you to do is after you beat the game, like you can like collect all the Pokemon from like before the games, right? Like you can transfer them into your game, or they'll be unlocked in certain areas, and that's something that's been in I think some of the more recent games. Not in every single game, but in some of the more recent games. And it's something that people really like because, you're training your Pokemon, you have it for whatever, blah, blah, blah. You get to carry it over. Now, with Pokemon Sword and Shield, the National Dex is not coming back. What they have is they have like the Galar Dex or whatever, and whatever Pokemon that are in that, that Pokedex, that's the Pokemon that you're going to be able to have in the game. You won't be able to transfer Pokemon outside of that unless it's available in the Galar Dex. So you still might be able to transfer Pokemon over, probably be able to transfer Pokemon over from other games, but it won't be every single Pokemon. Like there's like a thousand or something like that. So you won't be able to transfer over 700 or however many Pokemon that you have. So there's a lot of people that are upset because you're not going to be able to transfer over everything. And that's the reason why you're seeing the hashtags and people, complaining and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, but it's interesting because the Pokemon company also gave a bunch of reasons why it would be tough for them to do that. And they said it was barely manageable in the last game, but some people aren't believing that. So we're here to talk about it and discuss everything, and I'm here to moderate and add in if there's something that is not correct. I can add in maybe, well, this is maybe what was. Other than that, this should be pretty good. So like I said, we have alerts and everything open. Just no song requests during this, guys, but if you have like a comment or a question, you can definitely do that. I'll try to see in the chat, but if you want to do alert, that's fine. Alerts work, so I'll have that available during this. So all right, so let's see here. Let's start off with VC. I want to, because like I think this is from the consumer standpoint, from what you're saying here. Why do you feel that the National Dex should be in this game? No excuses, no matter what. Why do you feel that?
Reason why I feel like that is also because they say it's gotta catch 'em all as a phrase, and that's something that got everyone on the hook with Pokemon back in the day when it was first popular. And it's one of the core reasons why there's always repeats of Gen 1 games. That concept of catching all 150 Pokemon. We've had to play games like that multiple times. And so the fact that there's all these other generations with more Pokemon to capture makes Pokemon fans that aren't Gen 1ers, like most of us, the real fans of Pokemon, happy to do. Because in the post-game of most Pokemon games, what is there to do nowadays? As the games have progressed over time, there's been less to do in the post-game. Be in Alpha Sapphire, for example. We had the National Dex in that game, in the post-game, but there's no Battle Frontier. They specifically took out the Battle Frontier to your game since many kids and people are always on mobile devices. That was the exact reason. I think it was Nori that said that. Let me check real quick. It was Junichi Masuda who said that, who was the main producer for ORAS. And that concept has seemed to have been going on in recent years with Pokemon. A trainer who plays the game since Red and Blue, I complete the Pokedex. I do it every game. That's like my goal. I end up getting like 400, 500 plus hours in Pokemon, and so do most people, whether it's breeding, all that kind of concepts. And there's even people out there who like certain Pokemon. Like I was talking to DJ King Gaming on Twitter about it, and he's like, oh, I don't like Stantler. I don't want Dustox in the game. All these characters. I'm like, Stantler's pretty cool. For me, it was nostalgic because I use a character like Stantler in the game. You mentioned to me, OJ, about what games have so many possible characters to use in a game, almost 1,000 characters. I was talking to another person on Twitter about it too, and they brought up Forza and how in Forza there's over 800 stylized cars that you can unlock in the game and use, each one with different animations and effects. So why can Forza do it, but the most popular and most company Pokemon not able to do that?
Well, can Forza, there's over 800 cars that you can bring over from your previous games?
Not from previous titles, but brand new ones per game, which is different.
Over 800 cars per a game?
Yeah, Forza 7, not Forza 7, no. I think it's Horizon. I read it before on Twitter. Yeah, Forza Horizon was the one. Yep.
Forza Horizon has, yeah, but that's 700. That's not 1,000.
It's not 1,000, but Pokemon's not 1,000 yet either. And every new Pokemon installment since Black version has been getting less and less in amount. Like we got about 150 new Pokemon in Black and White, but then in X and Y we got around 80 on the Moon. So logically, that's probably what's going to happen next, and it may only be up to 900 Pokemon, not 1,000.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, the reason why I said like I've never seen that happen before carrying over because it's a new game. I mean, you're talking about carrying the Pokemon over. So I mean, I see the comparison that you're talking about there. But I mean, even so, it's like it's a car game. It's Forza. You know what I'm saying?
The one thing about it though, about the National Dex thing, like I personally would only be okay with it if they took it another step further and made the games take place in the future, and like have Pokemon like Ekans and Arbok, for example, become poison ground types to show that over years and generations, Pokemon evolve and adapt. So the logic of certain Pokemon being extinct, like Torkoal, for example, would be more logical. If they went with that route, I would personally be comfortable with the concept of no national. However, since they're not doing that, they're keeping it around the same timeline, almost, of maybe like 10 to 20 years difference. Of course, with the different parallel universe conundrum that's also in the game as well. I definitely think it would have been something that would have been more lenient to all these different consumers of the game, whether they're casual or they're more of a hardcore fan, like me and Insane, for example.
Okay.
Okay, Insane Game Freak, you want to go in and hop in here?
Yeah, let me I guess make my base point known. I am not a person who is overly against the idea that all the Pokemon should be in this game. My position is I don't think it's, for me personally, it's not that big of a deal, and I'll get into it. So the first thing you mentioned is the slogan, the gotta catch them all, which to me hasn't really been wholly true since the National Dex was introduced in Generation 3 during Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. But the problem I've always had with the National Dex, just in terms of the collecting aspect, is that what it really turned into is that, like, for example, in Gen 3, the majority of the Pokemon you could get in the game were Generation 3 Pokemon, and what you ended up having to do is the trading aspect multiple times throughout the generation, where you traded back and forth between generations to fill up the Pokédex. And that's been the case for every single generation moving forward. The other kicker is that the National Dex has been gone since Generation 7. It wasn't in Sun and Moon or Ultra Sun and Moon. And the other thing is that we've actually gone Pokemon games without having the full cast available. For example, in Generation 6, until the Pokemon Bank the Pokemon Bank app came out on the 3DS, until that app came out, you could not get your older Pokemon. You were waiting.
I remember that.
So there was a gap in time.
7 as well.
And
it took like about 3 months.
Yeah. And the other kicker is that, for example, in like I said, in Generation 7 and in Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, you didn't have access to the full roster then. And people, for some reason, now want to flip out about it like this is a new issue, when it's been an issue before, but for some reason now it's the time to draw the line in the sand, and now it's like now we can't support Game Freak anymore. Just to quickly touch on your idea of Pokemon being in the future, to me that just sounds like an extension of Alolan forms, except being just with a different concept behind it. Pretty much just having them in different area, which is fine. I have nothing against that. I'm just saying, for me, I don't want Game Freak to feel like they're stuck in a way, and I guess how do I explain this? I don't want it to feel like Game Freak has to come up with arbitrary ways to allow every one of the previous game's features, because there's also been confirmed there's no Megas and there's no Z moves in the game, and I don't want it to be like it was in Sun and Moon or even in Oris, where it's like, oh, well, here's an arbitrary way for you to get a Mega Ring, and then we got to throw the Mega Stones in the game so you can get those. Or the same thing with the Z Band and the Z Crystals.
I like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Those are Mayas after the 5th gym, and like once I got that, I stopped playing. Like I just stopped.
Yeah, Oris to me is not a good remake anyway. But my point is that I don't think this is the thing that should break the camel's back. Like, to me, I don't feel like this should stop people from playing the game, because to me the Got 'em Catch 'em all moniker hasn't been relevant for a while now. Actually, since the National Dex was introduced, because it didn't turn into catching them all. You had to trade them all. You had to go between 3 or 4 different games, whether it was the Fire Red Leaf Green remakes,
GBA, DS, 3DS. They had to go.
Yeah, you had to. So it to me, that's not fun. I don't think anyone finds that a fun game mechanic to sit there with 2 DSs or 2 Switches and trade back and forth until you got the Pokemon you wanted. But yeah, that's my general thought process. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I can understand people missing their favorites like Stantler, or having their favorites, every one of their favorites available in the game. I just don't think it adds enough to be that big of a line dividing issue.
Okay, let me throw this in there before VC can respond to that, just so we can kind of see, because it seems like, you guys both make good points, I guess, but there's some people in the chat that are saying, oh, well, the quality of the animations aren't good, the blah 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 is not good, the graphics aren't good, blah blah blah. What's your thought process to that when they're saying, oh, well, it wouldn't be a big deal if this was the only thing, but there's a bunch of other things that quality of the assets, animations, graphics are lacking. What do you say to that, Insane Game Freak? That people say, okay, well, it's not just Pokemon are missing, there's all these other things too. Like, what do you think about that?
I think part of it is because, for one, I will agree, Game Freak had terrible PR when it came to addressing it, because I know they're the ones who said, oh, well, we wanted to improve the quality of the battle animations and the models of the Pokemon, and people are like, there's no real changes and whatnot. I agree that a lot of those arguments are just bad, or just dumb arguments, and it doesn't work, because they really should have just been honest about what the true reason is. A lot of people don't know this, but Pokemon, unfortunately, I think is a series that it's now run by its parent company, which is the Pokemon Company, the Pokemon Company International. The real reason I think it is time. I think they could do it if they had the time, but because they're stuck in this kind of yearly schedule, and some people would say, well, just delay the game. But what that doesn't get into is that Pokemon isn't just the games anymore. It's the anime, it's the trading card games, it's the merchandise. People don't even realize that Pokemon makes the majority of its money more from its anime, trading card games, merchandise than it does from its games. I'm not saying its games aren't bringing a lot of money. The games kind of push the creative focus, but honestly, the moneymaker is the everything else that stems from it. And it's the parent company that's dictating when these games have to come out. Because if I had to be honest, I think the real reason why they're not doing it is time. As far as the animation argument, though, just to go ahead and humor it, I think people took what he said and ran with it in the wrong direction. When he said he was cleaning up animations, people were like, oh, well, when he does double kick, the foot still shows up on the other Pokemon's face. That's not what he meant. He didn't mean that it was going to be all one-to-one realistic. He meant that the animations would look just as clean as the Pokemon do in the generation. Because not only do you have to update the 800 or so Pokemon on top of doing the extra however many they add in this generation's models, you also then have to clean up all the animations for every attack in the game. So it's not like, oh, they're all going to become one-to-one. It's just not. They don't have. In this kind of development cycle, they didn't have the time to do that.
Okay, let me ask VC. VC, do you think based off of what he said right there, because people are always going to give the game crap or whatever the case is. Do you think it's possible for the Pokemon Company to have the high quality animations that some people are sitting there, to have the open-ended region, to have the Pokemon on the screen, and also to have all 1,000 Pokemon or however many Pokemon? Is that do you feel that, I mean, because like you were saying that they're lazy and people are being defenders when they're literally bringing up things that are common in game development, period. Not talk about just Pokemon, but just common in game development where you run out of time to where you can't add this or there's issues. I mean, that's Breath of the Wild didn't have everything. Super Mario Odyssey, I guarantee there's things that they left out. Super Mario Galaxy, there's things that they left out and put that in a sequel. So do you feel that they could have had everything in there, no problem? Is that what you're trying to say too with this? Because you've been bringing up like a bingo board that I've been noticing that you bring up whenever somebody says, okay, well, you know, they bring up something that's a legitimate concern that I would think that people would think, and you say, well, you're just being a defender. So do you feel that they have the time to do all this in that amount of time?
Honestly, not that they have had the time. And by the way, is that saying that they're lazy is wrong, because
Oh, seems like you cut out.
Yeah, but what happened?
This man Junichi Matsuda got him.
Oh no!
no, am I here?
Okay, you're
Yo.
back.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, it is raining here. I don't know if you heard the raindrops through my microphone.
No, I didn't.
No.
What I was saying was I realized that they weren't lazy due to the fact there's only 150 people working for game. A company like Monolith Soft is over 200 people. Logically, they won't have enough people to work.
You're cutting.
Especially since the team that worked on. Am I cutting out again?
You're cutting in and out. You're cutting in and out. I don't know what happened.
On. How about now? Any better?
Keep talking. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Should I start back from the beginning or?
Yeah, start over.
Yeah.
All right. I initially thought it was laziness until I learned that Game Freak has over 150 or just about 150 people working for Game Freak. While another company, for example, that has much less gross income, like Monolith Soft, has around 200-something people working for them. What makes it a challenge is that they've had 3 years to create this game. The team that's working on this game is the same team that worked on Sun and Moon. So they had 3 years to work on this. And they had this time using the same from X and Y that were future-proofed for higher quality, like 1080p, but were always downsized to 240p on the 3DS over the last 4 or 5 years since the first 3DS game came out. The problem when it comes to the attacks, because many people play Pokemon without doing the animations of the attacks. They have it on that one mode where you just click a button and the attack happens, that's it. That's what I personally do. So I don't care about those animations. I care about the animations when it comes to having each character in the game, and that's why. There's not enough time for them to program each of those characters into the game without leaving some out because there's not enough time. That's the big problem overall. If they could delay the game a whole another year, I would not mind at all. But
do you think 1 year would
because
get
they're trying to do crunch time?
Do you think 1 year would get every Pokemon in the game?
I definitely think it would, just one more year, even if it's an extra 2 gigabytes, because realistically, all the Pokemon, when they're put in the Pokemon Bank, each one is only 1 kilobyte in size. And Pokemon Bank costs $5 a month for 3,000 kilobytes of storage. 3,000 kilobytes of storage for that went on off topic. Gmail.
It just seems, I don't know how we'd be able to, and like I said, as a moderator, I need to make sure that I check you on some of this stuff.
No problem.
I don't know how we would dictate that it would take. First of all, we don't know how many Pokemon are in the game. First of all, so we don't know how many are in the game. So how would you say? So how would you say that you dictate?
Hold on, I'm busy.
Oh. Are we good?
Life calls.
Okay, life calls. Got
busy.
You. I don't know. I don't know
there?
how we would dictate how that it would take them 1 more year to get every Pokemon in the game when we don't know how many Pokemon are in the game in the first place. So how do you dictate that it would take them 1 more year when you're not inside that circle? How do we know?
We don't know.
Okay, we don't. Okay, I just want to make sure I said it because that was one of the points you brought up. You said, "Oh, well, it'll take 1 more year to get all the Pokemon," but based off of what?
To me, it's a situation of we're playing guesswork, especially because we don't know how big the Dex is right now. We don't know. Like this, that's the other thing I find a little crazy, that people are acting like there's only going to be like 200 Pokemon in the game, and we don't know how big the Pokédex is in this game. So to me, you can't really make a real judgment call on how long it would take or if it's possible if you don't know how many are going to be just based off a 3-year development cycle, right? You have to at least know what we're getting into. The other thing is people, because I want to bring this up already because there's an argument that's been going around about how, well, I've had this Pokemon since Generation 1 on the Game Boy Color or the Game Boy Advance or the DS, right? And they want to trade them all the way up until Sword and Shield, and there's a chance that they can't. And because I think people are misunderstanding that home still lets you have those Pokemon there. The only thing that's being restricted is their ability to go into Sword and Shield, but it's not like you lose that Pokemon forever. And I think some people don't understand that. They think that, oh, because they can't go into Sword and Shield, you've lost that because a lot of people talk about the Pokemon that has like emotional attachment, like maybe a family member had that game originally, and that Dragonite was from like a brother who died a long time ago. That Pokemon's not going to go away. It's just going to hang at home. So,
yeah, the foster home, the elderly home.
But it's still there is the point.
It's still there. But what if they wanted to play as that Pokemon, use that Pokemon in the Galar region? They can't. Like, for example, I love Dunsparce, and I know there's a cult following for Dunsparce. I couldn't play with Dunsparce for at least like one playthrough of a game. That'd be kind of disappointing. Like, I like to play through games a lot, whether it's on the 3DS or old consoles or even just emulating them on the PC. I love playing Pokemon in any way, shape, or form, customizing my teams. And that's something that will be lacking if we have less Pokemon around. You have less options, less things that will be viable, because the concept of what you've mentioned, OJ, I know we're getting slightly off topic.
No, go ahead.
I don't think the concept of balancing makes sense. Ever since the VGC has been around, they've always been the team that's been working on balance.
Yeah, you're cutting in and out.
Cutting in and out?
Yeah, well, we got your point with balancing, because I think Insane Game Freak, let's address that real quick since you're cutting in and out.
Go ahead.
Insane Game Freak, you talked about this last night. Or the other day, when YouTube decided that they wanted people to hear what you had to say.
Hey man, when YouTube wants to let people see my videos, then it's
I don't think YouTube's doing a good job. You got 12,000 subscribers. I don't think YouTube's doing a good job of letting people see your video. By the way, I missed so many of your videos because they don't get good notifications. I don't think they're doing a good job.
I understand the YouTube struggle. That's why you're on Twitch, right?
Yeah, well, that's why I bookmark your page so I can just watch your videos whenever they come. Like, I'll just check every day until I see a video. So I'll just do that from now on because YouTube's fudging stupid. But anyway, I know you talked about balancing last night. What is your response to people saying, oh, well, balancing has never been an issue or whatever the case is? Like, I know what you said, but I want to hear you explain it. Like, what's your take on that?
My thing is this. Because technically that is true. Pokemon has been pretty imbalanced because it really wasn't made for the competitive. It was made for the casual. But my argument is this. Just because it's not balanced now does not mean they shouldn't try to balance the game. That's like, to me, that's like saying, oh, well, Fallout 76 is a broken title, and it's always been broken. Do you think that they shouldn't try to fix it? Would you rather them not try to patch the game and fix the game?
Yeah, but like removing Pokemon doesn't balance the game. You can just nerf their attack stat, their defense stat, speed stat. They usually don't do that. They buff other Pokemon like Clefable in 7th Gen.
Removing Bayonetta
or 6th Gen, not sure.
Removing Bayonetta would balance Smash 4 better.
Yeah, but I'm saying
4, yeah.
Okay, well, all right. Well, let me.
I just wanted to make a joke real quick.
Let me put that in a better example. What's easier to do? Balance 12 fighters or 72? The reason why you cut the roster is to make it easier for you to incrementally balance the game, and then you can reintroduce older Pokemon into the newer games because you already have because right now people are making the argument there is no balance in Pokemon, right? Will you balance it with a small group, a small size of it? We don't know how small or big because we don't know the deck size. And then you incrementally reintroduce the Pokemon into that new balance system. And just a really quick touch on your point before about the whole Dunsparce thing and how you wouldn't be able to do a playthrough. Well, that's the problem with the National Dex as a concept in general. The National Dex comes after you beat the main
in the post
game.
Yep.
So you couldn't even use the Dunsparce you've had since Generation 2 or 3 until you beat the game after your adventure is over.
Unless they're already in the regional Dex, though. Unless they're already there.
Well, that's if they're only in the regional Dex.
That's my logic, because if
we're
it
talking
was in
about
the regional Dex.
I was only bringing up because you were talking about the one that you love and the one maybe you're transferring from an older game. You couldn't do that regardless. You would have to get a new Dunsparce that you don't have the same emotional attachment to and start again, which at that point, does it really matter?
It at least gets you a new member on the team. You could change the stats and the move set, so it gets you a new Dunsparce on your team. So logically, yes, you have a good point. However, wouldn't you want 2 amazing Dunsparces at that point? That may sound a little entitled, but like, wouldn't you want 2 amazing Dragonites? One that's probably a shiny you bred with amazing stats, and one that you had from, like OJ said, a family member that might have passed away. You may want both.
Yeah, but see, that way, your argument doesn't make sense, because if Dunsparce's in the regional decks, that means I can transfer it over anyway. So I see what you were going for, but it doesn't make sense in that example, because if I can get Dunsparce in Galar, that means I can trade over the Dunsparce I had in my
Previous
home.
game.
So.
Yep, but we don't know if he's in the game yet. So until then, that's how we'll know. And that goes for all Pokemon, of course, because everyone has their own Pokemon that they prefer. I've seen some from the Ninja Village say they love Gulpin, they love Smeargle, they love all these random odd Pokemon.
Maybe it might be good, as like I said, moderate. Maybe it might be good to wait and see.
Exactly. That's why I said to you back on Twitter to wait and see.
Maybe, but people aren't saying wait and see. You have not been saying wait and see. You have not been saying wait and see at all, though.
Bruh.
That's the thing.
You were tagged in the message. How did you not even see it?
No. VC, I follow you on Twitter. You are not waiting and seeing with any of this. You are going after anybody who just has an opinion like, well, they're working. You will bring up the bingo board. You know what I'm saying? You are going after people that say, well, maybe they're not. Like
I do bring up the bingo board a lot. I definitely do that.
All direct feed games said it was like, they're not lazy. They're working on blah, blah, blah. And then you went after them. Anybody, and this is, like I said, this goes back and forth. I've seen people, okay, not just you, but I've seen people also say, like, literally end friendships in the Pokemon community over this. Like, end friendships.
Oh, well, at that point, people are just stupid. How does a video game end your friend?
Well,
Let's be real here.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, it shouldn't end a friendship and all that. But like, people aren't just waiting and seeing. You're saying that people should wait and see, but you're not doing that. People who are the bring back National Dex people, they're not waiting and seeing. So obviously, it's like an all or nothing type of thing with a lot of people. It's either you give me everything, or I'm gonna be mad and I'm gonna sit there and say, "Give me everything until I'm mad."
Let's be honest
you know
for a
That's what it
second
seems
here.
like.
We're paying an extra $20 for a Pokemon game for the first time.
Yeah, the game's in HD. The game's
you mean
in
second
HD.
time, because we paid.
Let's go.
Let's go to me is a bad fucking remake, but that's a personal opinion. But that's
yes, of course.
I'll let you go. I'll let you continue.
Well, the difference is that was supposed to be a game that's a remake of an old game with only 151 Pokemon. There's already going to be less animations. This is a brand new Pokemon title, $20 more than previous titles, using a lot of the same animations that are being able to fully be utilized now in that 1080p, like you said, OJ, high quality HD. But they're taking Pokemon out, features out, and of course they're going to add stuff in like Dynamaxing and all that. But what most people care about is those Pokemon and that National Dex. And of course, you always get the National Dex by the end of the game, post game. Of course, that's every game ever since Gen.
Okay.
Like their Pokemon, as we've already discussed. That's what people want. People want to have the same Pokemon that they've been carrying for years. And even though that it may seem arbitrary overall,
I don't think
Home is now going to be holding them hostage almost. Because we have to wait for the next game.
So let me ask you a question, VC. So do you feel, even though you don't know, like I said, as a moderator, I'm just trying to bring this up. So even though you don't know all the features in the game and what they're adding and what they're not, you're saying most people like this.
Waiting to see.
Most people like that. But what you're saying that it's like we're paying $20 more, but you haven't seen all the features that are added. So how can we make a legitimate argument that it's not worth the extra 20 or whatever the case is at this point? I want to know your take on that. Like, they've added a lot of stuff that people did want, right? So the free camera, the wild open area, seeing Pokemon on the screen, the co-op is added into the game. So in terms of a value perspective, which every game, from what I understand, the Game Freak, Insane Game Freak, like every game doesn't have the National Dex or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So from a value perspective, how can we gauge? Like, I want to know your point, VC, or your opinion. How can we gauge what's worth the extra $20 or not? Is it only based on how many Pokemon are in the game? What's worth the price of the game, or is it based off of other things like new modes and new features? Like, you have a breakdown that you can talk about?
Well, that's subjective. That's a very subjective question, honestly. That depends on anyone, because
you brought up money. You brought up money, and you were tying it to, okay, well, there's less Pokemon, so therefore it's not worth as much because we're paying more. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to address that, because you said, oh, well, we're paying $20 more. So then we don't know everything that's in this game. So I wanted you to address that to people that are saying, okay, well, wait a minute, we don't, because there are people in the chat that are saying, well, there's still stuff to be revealed. They're adding new things in. So I just wanted you to see if you wanted to address that first before, because I know Insane Game Freak's going to do it. So I wanted you to address that first. So maybe Insane Game Freak can modify his argument. What's next? And I know what's not coming next from him. So just address that first. Okay.
Well, my logic in the whole thing is that like the Pokemon game $60, as long as it has all the Pokemon personally, that's my own personal subjective opinion. Like it cannot have Mega Evolution, Z moves, all that kind of stuff, as long as it had the National Dex. That's my own personal subjective opinion. Like that. However, over the course of every single game, they always take stuff out. Some things people didn't care about, like the seals, the ball customization, and things that people love, like the Versus Seeker and possibly Super Training, as well as the Safari Zone and Game Corner mini games. Things that people loved in these games were taken out over time. And when there was no like fight back from the consumers, because overall people were okay with it. Even when it comes to horde catching, walking with your partner Pokemon, contests, seasons, the hard mode in Black and White, which is amazing. I love the hard mode because of that. And when it comes to getting rid of all these modes, it's unfortunate because some of these key modes could make this game even better. Not to say that it wouldn't have made previous games better too, which it may have. All this ability that they have, whether it's monetary or through skill of the workers that have been working there for a long time, maybe since Red and Blue even existed, you would think that they would, to make sure the game is perfected. But like you said before, the Pokemon Company is the one that's probably puppeteering Game Freak into rushing this game out at a faster pace. And like we mentioned already, it's a smaller team. It's maybe at most. Exactly. I didn't actually look. I was going to search it before we. But I'm pretty sure it's only a small team, maybe 60 people working on this. This is supposed to be the same team that worked on Sun and Moon. And when you lose features, not to say that it makes the game worse. It doesn't. But it makes the game seem like it has less value, especially if it's a feature that's been in previous titles or multiple previous titles. Timing in these games. Some people I know, they would waste their time in the Safari Zone and Game Corner all day. They wouldn't play anything else, especially in the post game. That's all they were doing, just collect Pokemon. Like some people are like that. Some people do odd stuff. They play contests so they get every ribbon on every Pokemon. The Seeker would allow you to constantly do rematches.
So are you saying that they should have all the features from the previous Pokemon game and then also
I'm not saying that they need all
1,000 Pokemon and everything like that? Because it sounds like you're saying, well, since they're removing things, like I said, it sounds like you're saying since they're removing things and also since they're, they're not having the Pokemon in there, are you saying that they should have all of that in order to, like, let's just get the Insane Game Freak. I just want to make sure I clarify before Insane Game Freak speaks, but go ahead, Insane Game Freak, what's your thought on what he had to say?
Okay, so I'll say this. I feel like as a consumer, for anybody here who's interested in the game, regardless if it's me, VC, whatever, you are allowed to have that thing you like. And if that is a deal breaker for you, if not having all Pokemon in the game is a deal breaker for you, then you have the right to not bother and get the game. Do I agree with that necessarily? No, but the point is it doesn't matter because it's not my money I'm spending. It's your money you're spending. I can completely understand that some people, that is their line in the sand, the draw. But I guess my thing is that if you have the right to sit there and call Game Freak stupid or disagree with their opinion regarding it, I have the same right to let you know that I disagree with your opinion. I feel like that's the fairness of the argument. As far as a monetary value, that has been an issue with Pokemon in general. That's not even like a recent issue. That's always been an issue. I think Let's Go is considerably what I consider a lesser remake than Fire Red Leaf Green. Because 100%. Why would I? Because to me, it essentially sold itself on, oh, it's for the new audience, and it's more casual friendly. But then you also offer a bunch of features for people who only play the old school Pokemon fans would even know about. Like it's doing both. It's pandering to both. For me, I enjoy Pokemon for more than just the Pokemon. Also, because I feel like Game Freak can evolve, and I don't want them to hamper themselves with things that don't mean that much. I've been a proponent probably since, I want to say at least Gen 7 or Gen 6, I don't really need any more Pokemon. I would say focus on the world and the characters and the stories and the battle mechanics more than showing me new Pokemon, because I knew this, and a lot of people knew this. Even Junichi Masuda mentioned it. He goes, eventually this was going to have to happen. There was no way I'm going to consistently keep putting more and more and more and more Pokemon into a game and then there not be a crack somewhere. Like the hole for the bucket is going to fall at some point. And I think he made the executive decision to be like, I'm cutting it now. And I can respect a developer who's willing to make that kind of line in the sand. Like I said, I'm not overly against the idea of them being all in the game, but I'm also just as cool with them not all being in the game, because then it makes every generation have its own unique feel and appeal to it. So for me, for $60, from what I've seen so far, Sword and Shield looks way more of an appealing proposition compared to most of the other games we've gotten since the 3DS era, at the very least. I think Gen 5 was the best 2D game. So for me personally, I'm happy with it. I feel like it is worth the $60. That's why I didn't buy Let's Go. I thought Let's Go was a fucking another cash grab that I was just kind of sick of seeing. So for me, for my $60, it's the overall experience, not just the Pokemon I can catch. Because like I said, I think the National Dex, the way it's been currently implemented since Generation 3, is a flawed system. What is fun about trading back and forth between two DSs or Game Boy Advances to get all the Pokemon? The cool thing about not having a National Dex is that means I can go around the whole region of the game and catch everything and complete the Pokédex and feel a real sense of accomplishment. Not I catch everything that's in the game and then I sit in a Pokemon Center for 30, 40, 50, 60 hours trading until everything pops up. And like I said, that's going to get worse every generation. Every generation it gets worse and worse. So that's my point.
It doesn't really take 60 hours to transfer all your Pokemon unless you're really going from GBA all the way to 3DS or the Switch.
I'm just saying
it's not quick. I'll tell you that.
It's not quick.
Well, if you're doing it just from Pokemon Bank, it's a lot quicker though.
Yeah, that's Pokemon Bank is quicker. Pokemon Bank.
Yeah, it is quicker, but I'm saying it's a process that's going to get longer as more Pokemon are introduced.
Yep.
Like it's not like, to me, it's still not a fun process in general. It's just not fun.
Wrong about that. It's definitely not a fun process.
So, yeah. But go ahead. Sorry, I'll let you speak.
So, like to kind of set up the argument, because like you guys both had points. I think you countered the point. BC had his point. So
in the chat, they've been agreeing with both our sides. It seems like.
Well, it depends on sometimes the chat doesn't put context, so you never know sometimes you never know what's going on. But yeah,
I'll check my Twitter and look at a bunch of hate
no,
tweets.
I don't.
That's how I'll know.
You're not gonna get a bunch of hate. Okay, so let's kind of like because I know Insane Game Freak 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, you got to dip before 9. Okay, so we got a little bit more time. All right, so shout outs to Junebug 808, also Just Gamesville. And also KR Decade with the Prime. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate the subscription. If you do want to get the Discord link, you can whisper me and I can whisper that back to you. Okay, for KR Decade. Shout outs. I know you're from YouTube, so shout outs, man. Thank you. Thank you for the new follows as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's go into this. So to kind of like sum this up here, because I think it's been a pretty good back and forth. But I want to know you guys' thoughts, because there's still some people in the chat here in terms of things, and I'd like to take some of their thoughts. So if you have an opinion or a point on one side, or if you're on VC's side, or if you're on the Insane Game Freak side, bring up something here, and then we can have them maybe address it. Or VC, if you wanted to address something else that I can bring up that I kind of saw a little bit. So what would be the correct solution? Okay, what would be the correct solution for them? Because it seems like no matter, like what they do, it seems like there's going to be an issue. It's either you give me the National Dex, or you give me nothing, or I'm going to riot. You know what I'm saying? That's what it seems like here. And from what I've seen with the people that agree with you, VC, it seems like you give me National Dex or I'm going to riot. So if they're telling you that it can't be done, are you just going? I know you said that you're going to get somebody else to buy the game for you or whatever the case is, but
the only reason why I'd ask for someone else to get it for me is because every year Pokemon games come out literally on my birthday. The
Yeah.
only reason why. So people already like know to buy for me. Like my uncle just does it every time. So
Okay. Well, so are you saying that with this and this whole National Dex thing, just people shouldn't buy Pokemon games, or are you feeling that since they're so lazy or they're being lazy or whatever the case is, do you feel that that people just shouldn't buy this game because it doesn't have the National Dex and going
oh
forward? I mean,
no, because like we've already discussed overall, it's a subjective concept.
okay.
Because of course some people they don't mind, and what I've seen from online, and you look at the YouTube videos, dislikes, a vast majority wants the National Dex. Because that's all it really matters. Not that to have all 800, 900 Pokemon in the beginning of the game, just to have them in the post game. That's all it is. Like you said, Insane Game Freak, it is a pain and a slog to transfer the Pokemon over. It is. But just from Pokemon Bank, it takes at most maybe 2, 3 most to transfer them.
Okay. And do you
That's
think,
what really
but
is.
what would be the time frame? Because you're saying, oh, well, just to have it in the post game. So that means they'd have to, if you believe them, like it seems like okay, well, I believe them that they don't have time to do it. So then how long of a time process do you think that would take? So if it took them 3 years, that would be the case that they'd have the next game already out, or the next game in the next 2 years. So do you feel
my
that,
hope is
like,
that,
what would be the give or take here? You know what I'm saying? Like, would you want them to add it post? Would you want them to add it at some point? Would you be okay with that? Which did they rule that out?
Didn't, and that's why I have faith that they have the chance of saying that. Because like you said, we have 8, we'll see. But if you remember with Pokemon Bank, it came out about 3 months or 6 months after X released, and it's to be the same with Pokemon Home, as Sean Diamond. Pokemon Homes will come out 3 to 6 months after release. So if they can at least get it ready by then, that would be great.
6 to 8.
If they don't get it,
You said 6 to 8
3
months?
to 3.
What'd you say?
I said 3 to 6 months.
So you think they can have every Pokemon in the game in the 3 to 6 months after the game comes out?
Already working on it right now, maybe it's possible.
You just
But
said,
if they're not working on it right now, because I'm saying
but you just
3
said it
months
took them a
to
year.
6 months.
You just said it took them a year, potentially a year to get every Pokemon. Now you're saying 3 to 6 months. I just want to make sure that I'm clear with what you're trying to say, because you did say earlier, well, I think it took them about a year to get everything. Now you're saying
I'm
3 to 6
saying
months?
3 to 6 months from after the game releases, similar to Pokemon. They would try and do it at the same time Pokemon Home released.
Okay,
Maybe they're already
when's Pokemon Home releasing?
releasing 3 to 6 months release of Sword and Shield. I'm not sure the exact date though. Sean Diamond
Pokemon Home
mentioned it
doesn't
in the
have like a
chat.
release date. It's just I think they just said 2020.
Okay, so it could be even longer for all we know. We're not sure.
So okay, so you want it 3 to 6 months after the release of Pokemon Bank. That's what you're saying.
Yes, because we already had to deal with that kind of time constraint before. So I think we can all live with that. It's no big deal. It's a video game at the end of the day.
Okay.
So
Insane Game Freak, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm not against them being in the game. I think the way I'm looking at it is this: if the game comes out and and then after playing the game and experiencing it, I can sit there and make the decision that they really put in effort in terms of every other aspect, whether it was the characters or the story or the post game. I at that point, I don't care if they add in the other however many are left that they need to put in. Because I would have gotten what I wanted. I've never been a catch 'em all type. And a lot of people are saying we don't really want the National Dex. They're saying we just want to be able to transfer Pokemon. But people gotta understand that's one in the same. There is no game that had the National Dex that didn't allow you to transfer Pokemon. Like that's tied together. That's why I bring it up.
hand in hand.
They're hand in hand. They're interchangeable pretty much. I understand people want them for the post game, and I can sympathize with those people. But look, the way I would look at it, honestly, is this. If that means that much to you, don't buy the game. Don't support it. I think you have the right as a consumer to make that decision.
Use your wallets if you have a problem.
Yeah, if you want to make that, if you feel like that is too much for you, then don't get it. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm getting the game because I want it. Just off of the footage I've seen and off of the changes they made, I am incredibly excited, personally.
I think a lot of people, especially with, like Pokemon Let's Go, you would think that game would have sold 2 copies by the amount of hate that game got, and then it ended up selling 10 million copies. So I think that
that's because they also underestimate the casual audience. Most of the people complaining online are what people consider the hardcore audience. And I'm not saying you guys don't matter, but we are the minority when it comes to gaming. We know that for a fact. The majority of people and the people who play Pokemon just want another adventure. That's literally all they want. They want to catch some new Pokemon and they want to roam a new region. That's all they want.
One thing though about the Pokemon National Dex concept, though, isn't it confirmed that the original 150
That the original 150 are in the game?
It's confirmed that your mic is cutting in and out. That's what's.
Well,
That's been confirmed for you.
That's
That's been a game coming in the making.
Oh my.
No, but what were you saying? Because you cut out. And the game continues.
Oh my god!
I think you were you. Okay, let me ask. Were you saying was it already confirmed the original 151 are in the game?
And Sword and Shield, yeah. Sorry for my mic cutting out. There's thunderstorms happening.
No, it's all good.
Oh, go ahead. It's fine. It's fine. All I was gonna say is that it hasn't been officially confirmed, but people, I think that's a fair assumption to make considering all their models are already in Let's Go. So to me, that wouldn't make any sense if not all the Generation 1 Pokemon are in the game because their models are already there. But it hasn't been officially confirmed.
Okay. Well, you said the National Dex is not coming back. The problem being able Omega Oron says the National Dex not coming back isn't the problem. Being unable to transfer old Pokemon is. Okay, but have they confirmed?
So it goes hand in hand. What?
Yeah.
But yeah,
like, have they confirmed? I don't think they've confirmed everything yet. I think that's the thing with people, because I know Aron and lots of other people have been very vocal about that. I think it's a little bit too early with that. You never know what's going to come out, but at the same time, I think like what InsaneGameFreak was saying at the beginning, like he was like, hey, look, at some point there's got to be some type of cutoff with this, with fans and with these type of Pokemon. You know, I'm kind of, you know, like I said, I'm moderator, but I'm kind of, I see it both sides. Like I think InsaneGameFreak also sees it both sides too, but I also see it as I'm trying to compare it to other games too. You know, like I'm trying to compare it to other games. And you know how many Mario games cut out stuff that's not in the previous one because of new ideas? There's so many games that cut out things and put things back in and try new things and try different things and have this thing. Like, look at Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, for example. You know, they cut dungeons, you know, like they cut big dungeons and stuff like that. And they added in a different mechanic for what they felt was right, which you can agree or you can disagree regardless, you know, but I didn't see hashtag bring back National Dungeon Dex. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't see that with Legend of Zelda. So I think that's where some people are saying like the entitlement is coming from, is because like they're trying to sit there and say it has to be this, and the Pokemon companies explain why it's not. Yet you still have people saying, no, well, I looked at the Pokemon, you know, like if they're using the same models. When it's, you talk to any animator, you talk to any modeler, you talk to anybody that's done work on games, says, no, you just can't throw a 3DS model on there and say it's been upsized or supersized. I think that's the biggest thing, which VC, I think you brought up, right? The biggest thing is like there's no animator or modeler that says that you can just do that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the issue that I think some people are kind of like running into with this whole
Technically,
debate.
they were downsized and downgraded for the 3DS to.
Yeah, but you can't just, basically from what I've seen, that's why I want to make sure I get facts out there. You can't just take the upgraded model and then throw it on the Switch and say, oh, well, it's ready to go. You still have to do other things to the model. You still have to do more than just that.
But like Snivy Link even said, Pokemon is completely different from Mario and Zelda. And the reason why I say that is because you remember when I talked about all the different things that they took out of the game, Safari Zone, Game Corner, Reverse Seeker, Contest. That's similar to how you're bringing up Pokemon. They're at the same level of standard.
Are they?
Getting rid of certain items. Yes, because Pokemon are characters and what you're talking about are items.
Well, features. Items, features.
Items or features.
Yeah.
Characters aren't a feature.
Pokemon? Are you talking about like Pokemon themselves? Or you just thought, the features?
Yeah, Pokemon characters.
Features in the game, like they're
yeah.
Well, I mean,
exactly.
Zelda and Mario games have taken out certain features too. I mean, like they've taken out certain power-ups and they've taken out certain game modes or features have been in and out of Mario and Zelda games.
But say, OJ, I understand what you're saying, but I would agree with VC. It's not the same thing.
Oh no, it's not exactly the same thing. Like a feature and a Pokemon are not the same thing. I misspoke if I said that. My bad. I misspoke if I said that. That's not the same thing. But I'm saying like Mario and Zelda games, they have stuff that's put in and taken out. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I asked VC earlier. I was like, VC, so do you expect them to have everything, like all the features and all the Pokemon? You said no. You know what I'm saying? You said no, you don't expect them to, right?
Yeah, but I like at the rate that they're going right now. Many people also are rushing to this release because, as you said, the Pokemon Company is trying to get a game out every single year. Are going to add the characters in for the National Dex. They come when Pokemon Home releases, which is about 3 to 6 months after the release of the games. Not to say it's going to take them 3 to 6 months to do it, but they're probably already in the works of getting it.
Of getting it what?
Of getting it ready.
Okay, of getting it ready. Okay, because many people believe that it's not going to be there at all at any point or whatever the case is. We still need to figure out how many are even in the game or anything. So, all right. Well, I mean, unless you guys have anything else in terms of things, I want to make sure that I get Insane Game Freak out on time. He's a very busy man. Very busy man. So, was there anything else that you guys wanted to add in terms of the end of this? VC, you want to go ahead and make a little bit of an ending point here, what you feel is going to happen, then I'll let Insane Game Freak go.
Personally, I would love the National Dex in the game because I like to catch all the Pokemon, even if I'm transferring other ones. Trying their best to catch your Pokemon. Of course, there's many people who don't even do that. They just beat the Elite Four and that's it. The company's trying to make it be a simple experience for everyone. And that's how each game has been. Becomes more simple and more simple and more simple. Black and White was one of the least simple games, 5, and it sold the least. Too much stuff technically may not be the best, even if there's a lot of cool features and options. Of the day, would we benefit from having the National Dex? Almost every single game since Generation 3. However, would it be the end of the world? Of course not. It's a video game at the end of the day. It's up to you if you want to play it. If you want your Dunsparce in that game, if you want your Maractus, well, it's to make a decision. If not, then it doesn't matter. The game's going to be made at the end of the day, and if they decide to add them in, hopefully it's at least by when Pokemon Home releases, similar to how when Pokemon Bank released, we were then able to transfer. It essentially. I do hope for the National Dex, but if not, oh well.
Okay, I guess I'll say my closing arguments. Because even though I'm more on the side of being cool with them not having the National Dex in, I don't want people to feel like I don't understand that people still like that. That's an aspect of Pokemon that everyone loves. Some people, considering you've had the ability to do it in every generation, even if some generations took longer than others to allow you to transfer Pokemon over, the point is you can still, in every generation from Gen 3 forward, you can still transfer Pokemon over. And I understand that means a lot to certain people. So to those people, I say, I don't have any issue with you guys expressing your disdain or issues with Game Freak. Because look, I love Game Freak, but Game Freak has a lot of stupid problems, partially due to its development cycle, and partially due to old school stubbornness and just their way of game design. So fine, if you want to express your feelings of disdain for not having the entire Pokemon, the Pokédex being able to be transferred into Sword and Shield, that's perfectly fine and understandable. And it's not like I'm gonna riot if it is confirmed that later on you can transfer everyone over. But I also am a guy who understands that RPGs have to make sacrifices to progress. Not every Final Fantasy is the same. Not every Dragon Quest is the same. They all take out features, which the features in this case would be something like the Safari Zone or the or gambling or stuff like that. Not every game has those. Pokemon being a huge feature and proponent of the game, I understand is the major selling point, and it's a major point of contention for a lot of people. But for me, there's so much more things I love about Pokemon besides just the Pokemon themselves, that taking maybe a 200 or 300 Pokemon drop off, like there's only 500 or 400 in the game, if it makes Pokemon Sword and Shield a better title, I'm fine with it. And if they get added back into the game, that's cool. I just want the game to be good. And like I said, don't go if you're still feeling this like you're not feeling confident about that purchase when it hits like around November, wait, watch reviews. Hell, if it bothers you enough, watch a let's play. You have that right as a consumer to make that decision. I'm just saying, for me, I don't think it's that big of a deal, and I think some people are over exaggerating this outrage. Part of it just for the sake of trolling. The other half is just because they're not being objective about the situation. That's all I ask for. Be objective about the
point
situation.
I want to make, actually, I don't know if any of you know this, but it's not one of my favorite Pokemon, but the Pokemon Glameow was only available in the regional decks of Generation 4. Diamond, Pearl, Platinum. That's the only time that Pokemon's ever been in the regional decks. So that Pokemon, for example, and its evolution Perugly have been transferred for every game since then. More Pokemon of a similar logic that may have only been... Pokemon are more likely to be taken out.
We got you, VC. We understand. So we're gonna.
I get the general idea. All I'll say to that is, look, I think to me an alternative I would prefer is something like maybe Generation 8 has the first I want to say maybe 400 or 500 Pokemon, and maybe Generation 9 has the other 500 to 1,000 Pokemon, so that those Pokemon still get their shine. They just aren't in the same generations. That's just a solution I personally am cool with. But I know, like I said, some people don't want to deal with that. Some people don't want to wait that long, which is weird considering Pokemon has probably some of the shortest development cycles when it comes to mainline series nowadays. But hey, everyone has their opinions and thoughts, so it's fine. It's fine. I'm just saying, for me, I thought some of the outrage was kind of ridiculous, and people
carried away.
They got carried away, and they also took Junichi's comments out of context. I think for an RPG, this is what you have to do to allow it to grow. So that's just me. Sometimes you have to make sacrifices to promote progress.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we had a great discussion.
All right, yeah, good discussion on there. I think there's there's points on both sides, but I think at the end of the day, when I look at it, it depends on what game. Like, if I personally feel, well, actually, I'll talk about this later. I'll talk about it after you guys get off. Either way. All right, guys, that was the debate. So thank you guys so much for joining me, VC. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate that. Insane Game Freak. Let me post your channel real quick. Let me post your channel. Make sure you guys go subscribe. I need you guys to make sure you subscribe to the Insane Game Freak. His avatar is funny, to say the least.
Yeah. I can't be trusted. I cannot be trusted, and expect some real low tier shit from me sometimes.
Oh my gosh! Make sure you guys go subscribe to the Insane Game Freak, or you can watch him on the Juices Loose podcast every Monday on Terminator Juice's channel. But make sure you guys go subscribe to his channel. He has some good, like I said, he has some good videos, great points. Good stuff on his channel. Like I said, I've been subscribed for years now. So,
and I just put my link in the chat as well.
Yeah.
You can go subscribe to me on YouTube.
Yes,
my most recent video was about Mario Maker 2, which they have fixed since then. So,
so
your newest video is outdated. All right, good deal. Thanks,
YouTube. I've been away on vacation for a week and a half. Nothing I can do.
Hey, he went on vacation. They came back and they fixed it. Hey, good video, right? They saw that video.
Hey, man, listen, that Nintendo news life is rough sometimes. All right.
Hey, bro. Like
you make a video, then it gets amended the next day, and you're like, "Dang, now I got to make another video."
I've had videos get amended while I'm editing the video, bro.
Oh no, I'll say as
one.
much videos as you put out, OJ, I can imagine.
I literally while I'm editing, I'm like, man, this is stupid. And then there's been times where I have two articles, right? And I'm editing a video, and one of them I had amended one part of the article, the end part, and then the other part got fixed while I was like the first part. So I literally had to redo the whole thing. Literally like 5 hours for one video.
The good news is because YouTube's subscription system is broken, they may have only seen most people only seen the new video anyway first. So
You know
The
what?
notifications are so broken on YouTube.
Screw YouTube anyway. But anyway,
hashtag notification squad.
hashtag bring back good notifications. How about that?
Hashtag
Never.
free the guys. Hashtag free the guys, man.
Oh my gosh. Either way, thank you guys for joining me tonight. I am going to hop out of the Discord here. Like I said, make sure you guys follow VC and Insane Game Freak. Thanks for the debate, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for the discussion. I think it was good on both sides. So we're going to stay on for Twitch, guys. We're going to answer some questions. I'll go over some other things, but I'm going to hop out of the Discord. So see you guys later for this one. Insane Game
See you
Freak.
later.
Everyone, peace.
Peace.